Welcome back to another video from the Crypto Market Updates channel. I wanted to make a video in which I talk about liquidity pools, but in order to do that, I felt like I needed to first explain some other concepts in cryptocurrency like mining and DeFi before I get to liquidity pools. So today I made it a little bit simpler. The liquidity pool presentation still taking shape. So today's video is going to be on cryptocurrency mining. Just recently somebody posed a question under one of my videos saying that they did not understand how mining is really done. So I thought I'm going to jump on and see if I can create something of an explainer that might clarify some of that lack of understanding. So this is not going to be a visually appealing presentation. It's going to be more of a explainer video. Think of it as like a lesson. I'm an English teacher in South Korea here, so yeah, I've been teaching for 15 years. So think of it as a your opportunity to take a lesson with me on cryptocurrencies mining. All right, so let's see how well this goes without my biggest head getting in the way. Right on, crypto mining. Bitcoin mining is the process by which transactions are verified on the blockchain. I hope that you understand what a blockchain is. Blockchain is the place where Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies function. That's what Satoshi Nakamoto developed, and after that, it's all history. It is also the way new Bitcoins are entered into circulation. Not only Bitcoins, but all the other cryptocurrencies as well, obviously. Mining is performed using hardware and software to generate a cryptographic number that matches a criteria. The first miner to find a solution to the problem receives the Bitcoin reward, and the process begins again. So anytime a transaction is conducted by, for example, purchasing or sending Bitcoins from one wallet address to another, a certain hash is generated, which a hash is a string of numbers and letters combined that's generated, which then needs to be verified by computers in order to make sure that this is a real transaction, that it's not a fake transaction. The hashes, I didn't include that in the presentation because that's a very long and tiresome explanation. The hashes are basically strings of letters and numbers, and I think they come in something like 18 decimal spaces, which means that the differentiation between these can be enormous, and it would be very difficult to falsify them, because the change of one number or one letter will render a different hash and a different transaction. So the first miner to find the solution to the problem receives the Bitcoin reward, and the process begins again. The solution is basically figuring out by the computer. The computers figure out what the hash is that represents that particular transaction. Hope that makes sense. Some convoluted way. The Bitcoin reward that miners receive is an incentive that motivates people to assist in the primary purpose of mining. And mining, of course, doesn't come in the form of people hacking away at computers or stone. It comes in the form of offering your GPU or computer power in order to provide computational power to process the equations or process the problems, which then can be verified on the blockchain. To legitimize and monitor Bitcoin transactions, ensuring their validity. So this is what motivates people to assist in the primary purpose of mining, to legitimize and monitor Bitcoin transactions, ensuring their validity. Not only is it important to have computer power present in order to validate the transactions, but it's also very important to have computer power present spread out throughout the world or different regions in order to secure the blockchain. You may have heard something of the 51 attacks. And so imagine if there is one computer running a blockchain or running any process. That computer can be hacked and then influenced, and things can be changed on that particular computer. So if a computer is running and only one computer is working on the problem and validating the transactions, then that computer could be hacked and the transaction could be changed and nobody would be the wiser. Now, if you have several, let's say 2 computers doing the same thing, they both are running, working on the same blockchain, and both receive the same transactions, which they then need to validate. If a hacker enters one computer and changes something in that one computer, the second computer still has that transaction and can validate that transaction to make sure that it is a valid one. So the hacker would have to compromise both of the computers in their favor in order to change the transaction. Once the number of computers grows larger and more distributed, it becomes a lot more difficult for hackers to change the transactions on the blockchain, because they would have to basically hack at least 51% of the computers present in order to change the transactions and the hash in their favor, which becomes very impossible once the number of computers grows, as it has for Bitcoin right now, for example, and all the other proof of work cryptocurrencies that are being mined. Mining rewards are paid to the miners who discover a solution, and the probability that a participant will be the one to discover the solution is related to the portion of the network's total mining power. So the more powerful your computer is, the more powerful your network is, the more likely you are, or your computer is, that it will find the solution and receive the reward for their work. You need either a graphics processing unit, a GPU, or an application-specific integrated circuit, ASIC, in order to set up a mining rig. Traditionally, initially, Bitcoin was mined with GPUs, I guess, some long time ago. But once ASIC miners came online, and those were controversy, and people were very much against ASIC's mining until they weren't, because it's so much more powerful and produces better results and faster results. GPU mining for Bitcoin ceased to exist, and right now, if you tried to mine Bitcoin with GPUs, you'd be very unsuccessful. You would have to have a lot of GPUs to create a lot of hash power to generate any any Bitcoin income from mining with GPUs. But GPUs can still be used for mining, and are used for mining other cryptocurrencies that are not as far gone as Bitcoin, that have a lower difficulty level, like for example Meowcoin. Meowcoin has been around for a year. Its difficulty level is still manageable, and the mining rig that I have created, which I made a video on, if you haven't seen it, check it out, only has 8 GPUs, and that should be enough to generate a bit of a reward in Meowcoin. Not a massive amount, but sufficient enough to keep me happy. Over time, the reward for mining Bitcoin is reduced. This reward process continues until there are 21 million Bitcoins circulating. So there is a maximum of 21 million Bitcoins. So first of all, I hope you will understand how this mining process works. You have a computer, you must run an algorithm on the computer. The GPUs then process mathematical transactions, and once that transaction is computed, the network that computed the transaction receives a reward in the form of either Bitcoin or any other coin that it has been working on. And most of the coins that are being mined have a limited supply. So for Bitcoin, it's 21 million. And not all Bitcoins have been mined yet, hence the need for mining. Once that number is reached, the Bitcoin reward is expected to cease, and Bitcoin miners will be rewarded through fees paid for the work done. Here's a simplified example of to explain the process. So this is a easy explanation of how the reward process works. So say you ask friends to guess a number between 1 and 100. Your friends don't have to guess the exact number. They just have to be the first to guess a number less than or equal to your number. Easy enough. If you think of the number 19 and a friend comes up with 21, another 55, and yet another 83, they lose because they all guessed more than 19. So the number that they need to guess has to be lower or equal to 19, to the number that you have thought of. But if you have 3 friends left and the next one guesses 16, which is less than 19, that person wins, and the others don't get a chance to guess. The one who guessed 16 was the first to guess a number less than or equal to 19. So we're not talking, when we're talking about friends here in this example, obviously it's a comparison to computers. So imagine that the friends are the computers, the friends are the people who are own the computers that do the mining, that can compute the transactions or compute the equations. In this case, the number you chose, 19, represents the target hash the Bitcoin network creates for a block, and the random guesses from your friends are the guesses from the miners. So the hash would be the transaction, whether it's the purchase or selling or transmitting of Bitcoin over the blockchain, and the guesses your friends are making are the computational are the computers that are conducting the trying to solve the equation. This is why most miners join mining pools, where the computational power of several mining rigs is pulled together and the rewards for mining are hashed between the computers. I am using Prezi, that's why there is a watermark. Unfortunately, it's a free Prezi. If you'd like to see the Prezi sign disappear, then make sure to smash up the likes on this video, subscribe to the channel, and share the content to other people to help the channel grow, which will help me monetize and pay for Prezi. I don't use Prezi enough to justify paying for it. There's so much software out there that would be very useful to the creation of channels, but it all costs money. So in any case, Bitcoin mining even now is done in pools, I think, and so are most coins. It's still possible to solo mine some coins right now if you have superior computers, but even then, depending on how big the network's hash rate is, your chances of being a successful solo miner are much smaller than they are of receiving rewards while being in a pool of any kind. And of course, there are different pools which is very important to have, because they help secure the blockchain for that particular coin, which makes it very difficult for hackers to attack and take advantage of the blockchain. In a pool, the rewards are divided amongst miners. So let's say there are 5 blocks or 5 transactions that have been solved by that particular pool. The spoils or the rewards that are sent to that particular pool are divided amongst the miners that have been pulling together, based on the effort that their computers have put into solving the equation, solving the problem. So for example, let's for argument's sake say that we'll do computational power with 1. So let's say one computer has the computational power of a 1, and so that computer is competing against 10 other computers, which would be 10 ones, and so it's very difficult for that one computer to actually succeed at solving the equation, because obviously it has 10 other computers going against it. Now if these 10 computers pull their power together, now that number, now you have 11 ones, right? And so these 11 ones can work together and solve the problem, which allows them to receive a reward. Let's say I have 2 computers, which means I would have 2 ones, so I have a 2, you have 1 computer, and some other people have their ones, and so on. So since I put in 2 computers into this pool, my reward will be a little bit higher than 2. It will represent the computation power or the effort that I put into the pool, but together we are guaranteed that our pool will receive a reward. Whereas if you were to have your computer working solo, the chances of your computer finding a block are much smaller than the chances of a pool with 11 computers in it. Hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comment section below if it does. The rewards. How are the rewards divided? The reward for successfully validating a block is Bitcoin. In 2009, you'd receive 50 Bitcoin for mining a block, but the block reward is halved every 210 blocks, or roughly every 4 years. So in 2013, the reward amount declined to 25, then 12.5, then 6.25, and next halving, which will take place in 2024, sometime at the beginning of 2024, will change to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. And this is very important, and this is what contributes to the overall bull run that everybody is talking about right now. Basically, the amount of computational power that is invested right now into producing one Bitcoin or one block of Bitcoins will remain the same, but the number of Bitcoins that will be produced in a block will be cut in half. So in order to produce more Bitcoins, the computational power will have to be increased. Also, the difficulty of mining the blocks increases, which makes it even more difficult. So that's what creates value, and this is why the price of Bitcoin goes up, because there are fewer Bitcoins being produced over time. This is called proof of work. The mining process is what you hear called proof of work. It takes a lot of energy and computational power to reach the goal of less than or equal to a target hash. The work done is viewed as the validation proof needed, so it's called proof of work. You will see a lot of POW acronyms, and that's what they refer to. Another incentive for Bitcoin miners to participate in the process is transaction fees. In addition to rewards, miners also receive fees from any transactions contained in that block of transactions. So you may have heard of gas fees on Ethereum that have been skyrocketing, and that was a good time for Ethereum miners while Ethereum was still mineable. Right now, transaction fees are divided amongst validators who are staking their Ethereum on the blockchain, on the Ethereum blockchain. When Bitcoin reaches its planned limit of 21 million, expected around the year 2140, so there's another, I guess, 120 years to go before Bitcoin reaches its 21 million supply. Which I will not see in my lifetime. Quite possibly that my kids could see it, maybe, probably not even them. It's gonna be my grandchildren. Miners will be rewarded with fees for processing transactions that network users will pay. So by that time, mining will be done, and I guess people will be just paid like on the Ethereum network with fees for transactions. So for sending, buying and selling Bitcoin, or purchasing goods with Bitcoin. These fees ensure that miners still have the incentive to mine and keep the network going, or they wouldn't be mining anymore. The idea is that competition for these fees will cause them to remain low after halving events are finished. Here's a picture of the mining schedule, I guess. So there are 21 million Bitcoins that are halved and then halved again and halved again. And so the one thing that's missing is the year 2024, which will happen next year, and Bitcoin will be slashed, or Bitcoin, the rewards will be slashed to 3.125 something. I hope that this video was clear enough to understand what Bitcoin mining is. If it was, then make sure to smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. If it wasn't, then please make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below, and of course come back for other videos. I'll be making a video on liquidity pools and DeFi and all that good stuff. So I hope to see you back, and have a good day. And oh, it's a Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Crypto Father out.